Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, let's start. First of all, welcome to our online session on UiPath Apps and Action Center. I've already checked the list and I've seen some familiar names. Okay, so maybe I'll start sharing my screen. But for now, if you got any questions during the session, I ask you maybe wait till the end or write them in the chat. That's easier for the flow of the presentation. Most of my stuff will be hands-on, so I'll be short on slides. Okay, can you see my screen? Somebody say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Okay. Okay, we do like this. So first of all, my name is Julian. Some of you already know me, some of you don't. I'm based in Berlin. I work for Roboyo as an automation engineer, and I'm also the chapter lead for the UiPath chapter in Berlin. And I think I've been doing this for 1.5 years by now. We started with 50 people. Now we're around 220, and I just told Chris that our goal for this year is to reach 300. So let's see. I always mention at the beginning the Insider portal. I'm not sure if you know it. For those of you who don't know, simply Google it. It's for the previews of the new UiPath features, actually for all their technologies. So you can check for the newest features on agents, for the newest features on apps, studio, etc. Okay, so what's up today? This is a short agenda. I will today cover mostly UiPath apps. We'll start with a basic overview. Then I will show you some examples of what you can build in UiPath apps. I would say I think it's always important to understand the small bits. And once you understand the small bits, you can put them together and get the bigger picture. So all the examples that I show you will be very precise on one thing. And I will also share all the code later on. So you don't have to code along with me or take any screenshots or whatsoever. Slides and all the code will be shared later on. Then after the basic examples, I will quickly explain that you can build apps within the apps tool, but also within solutions, so in the Studio Web. Then the difference between apps and action apps, how you can trigger apps from a Studio desktop, and also how you can trigger an app from an agent. And last but not least, the Action Center. And then I will want to talk about possible next sessions and also ask for your feedback if you got any interest that you would like to share, so we can maybe do a session about that. All right. Wait a second. Okay, I got this top line from. Okay, now it works. Okay, so maybe start with UiPath apps in general. So how do I get there? Simply click on the 9 dots, then click on apps. Then I'm on that page. You can see apps that you already created. These ones are not published yet. Here you can see the published ones. There is a name, an owner, and like last published and version. Either you generate one app with autopilot, or you can click here. That's what I usually do, create a new app. Then I give it a name. I will call it UiPath Chapter Berlin. You can also import an app file if you already got one. For example, on one tenant, you exported one, so you can import it here. You can also set it as a public app. That means that people publicly can access the app. But for now, I just want to create it like this. Okay, so either here you could drop a PDF image or describe the app that you like, and Autopilot would generate it for you. But today we do everything manually, so you get a better understanding of how the apps works. Also, I will start with a blank page. If you don't want to start with a blank page, there are also templates. Why are these templates nice? You can use them to maybe get an understanding of how the template is done and how it works together. And also, yeah, just to get an idea of what you could do. So maybe we'll start with a blank page. Looking at the interface, on the left, you can see the pages that you have, the variables that exist inside your app. On the right, for each of these pages and also buttons, which I will show in a second, you always have general, which is, for example, here a page title and a description. Also events. Events are things that happen when you interact in a specific way with for example, a page, and style, where you can change the style of a page or any icon. This is actually here what you need the most. So how can I add stuff to my app? Either you click here you can add a new page. You can import a page from some app. So for example, I could export that page here, and then I could import it somewhere else. Then this is a control. Controls can be inputs. So all input fields, a button, a checkbox, a custom HTML. For example, a button looks like this. Then entity, which is entity from data fabric. So some data. Processes, which are processes within Orchestrator. So for example, you could trigger a job from within an app. Storage bucket to also have data stored in a storage bucket. Queues. Action. Action is a field which is necessary for action apps. Variables and media. If you want to, actually just clicking here on control is the same as clicking here. So for now, we will keep this panel open. Sorry. You usually always start with a container. There are three types. This is a container itself. This is a container layout. Container layout, you can create a lot of new containers, for example, like this. But for now, we will simply use one. Page container is when you want to include a page that you created into another page. So for example, if I would build a new page, this one, this time I'm using a template, so you can have a look at it. So this is my new page. I use the template. So on the left, you can see the structure of the page. So when you click on any field, you will see where it is. So here, that's simply the structure. So that's what I meant. If you want to get a feeling for it, for what you can build with apps, I think it makes sense to have a look at templates, but it also makes sense maybe to watch some YouTube videos, but also just play around with the tool. So here we are back here. As I said, there is also a page container. I could edit this here. For that, I could open a page, and this time I will do it like this. So I would include in the page another page. I will delete that for now because I just wanted you to see it. Okay, so back to controls. Input, I will input something. Display, something is displayed. Containers, I already told you, and icons are simply icons. Most important two things are input and display. Here are the basics ones that you simply should know, like a button or a checkbox, or I don't know, like a drop down. Let's maybe have a look at the button. They all work the same. So as I said, each field, or for example, each control, this time the button, has a general, events, and style tab. General, simply changing the name of it, maybe give some tooltip, maybe provide an icon. I don't know, maybe this one. Then also display if it's hidden. So based on some expression, sometimes the button is hidden, sometimes it's not. Based on some expression, sometimes the button is disabled, so you can't click it. Sometimes it is. Events is something that happens when you click that button. I will delete these two things for now. But for example, I could here click on create rule. For now, maybe let's create a little variable, a variable string. And these are the different. All right. Okay, so I got a variable string. I want to maybe display it. So I could use like here a text field to do it like here. Text box. This text box has as default value, right now it has nothing, but I want to use the variable string. So for now, if I here on the top right, you can hit preview and then it will run your app. If I hit on preview, it's loading my app. What I can see now, I can see the button, I can see a label. If I hit here, nothing will happen. And nothing is shown right now since the variable that I created is actually empty. Okay, what I want to do now, I want to put an event here. So I click on that button, I click on events. What happens if I click on it? I create a rule. These are the different rules that I could use. I can set a value. This is what I will use now. I can show a message. I can open different page. I can close a pop-up or a bottom sheet, open a URL, show or hide a spinner, do some if and else. Also, so you can do a lot of stuff. Create an entity, update an entity, delete an entity record. Also add to a queue. I will show to you within my basics example some of that stuff. So for now, let's say I want to set a value here. Okay, I know for my app variables, this is a string. Now I want to check the expression editor. And I just want to display hi. So I save it. Now I want to preview my app again. Okay, for now it shows nothing. If I now hit on the button, the text that is shown is high because the variable is assigned the value high. Okay, one more thing. This, as we see it now, is an app. If I click here, this entire thing will become an action app. Action apps are only exist within Action Center, and they can be triggered via Studio Web, Studio Desktop, and also within an agent. So this is very important if you want to work with escalations within agents. What's important to know, once you make this an action app, you can't do it, you can't revert it. So if I click on yes, then it will create me an action app. As you can see now, this is new. This is my action schema for my action app. For now, I won't generate anything with autopilot. So what is important to state here? So I got app variables. As I said, these variables exist within the app, but I also got, for the action app, I got input properties, in and output properties, and output properties. Because if I call this app via Studio Desktop or an agent, it comes, for example, with some input properties, and it will leave after the task is being done within Action Center with some output. It's always important, you need to provide one outcome, but I will show you an example later. An outcome simply means you need to, for example, push a button, so you know that there is an outcome for the task within Action Center. Maybe let's create one variable here, in variable, and maybe some out variable. All right. And let's go here. So first of all, the outcome, if I hit that button, I can submit an action, and my action would be submit. So this can be, for example, you could have a button with yes, and you could have a button with a no. And if you hit on the button yes, the outcome would be yes. So you would have an outcome saying yes and one with a no. You hit on the button and it's yes, and if you hit the other button, it's no. So maybe one last thing regarding expressions. How do I access my values? So either you simply do it by here. For example, here you got all the controls. So all the things on the right here, a layout, container, button, and text. For example, for this button, I got a value, or maybe for the text field, I got a value. So you can do it like that. Or that's actually the way I prefer it. So I know that's my page. So I can say main page. And then I hit dot, and then I can see all the controls. For example, button, the container itself, the text and layout. And for example, I take the text and then I hit value. So it's the same outcome, but I honestly prefer that structure. The same, so this is how I access values of the fields, but you could also, for example, for action properties, I can get my variables from the action schema or the outcomes or the out variable. So this is how you access the action variables. Okay, anything else I want to show here? I think that's it for now. So this was the basic to understand what it looks like. Now I want to show you some basic features. Because I think these are some basic features that you could use in your app. We will start with one app that simply shows documents. I call it drop-down document viewer. If I hit on edit, I already built this. So we will still go through it so you understand everything. It's very basic. So my goal is to have an app that shows me documents based on the document that I choose from a dropdown. So this is my dropdown. For my dropdown, I need a list of values. So this is what I need. I have a list of text. I convert it to a list of source. So this is my list of text variable. My list of text variable, if I, for example, use it as an action app, the list of text variable would come from outside. So how I play around with it, I simply say, when I load the page, load event of the main page, I set my list of text to a list of text, and I provide names. These names I stored within a storage bucket. So this is document 1, document 2, document 3. They're all in this list. And what I can do now, so for now, if I run it, I would have like a drop down with a list where I can choose one from. Now my goal is actually to display it. So what do? Whenever I click on the drop down and choose one, so it says value changed, I added a rule. What happens? So for my storage bucket, which I had to provide here. So if you want to use a storage bucket within an app, you have to click here and then choose the storage bucket that you want and provide it here. This is my storage bucket. As you can see here, it's the drop-down document viewer. So I provided it here. So as soon as I change the value of the drop-down from this storage bucket, from my main page, my drop-down value, which is nothing as the name of the file that is provided in the storage bucket. And this file will be saved to an app variable. This is my apps file variable. I created this here. And now what I want to do is I want to display it here. So the source, what I download here will be the source of the display of the document viewer. Okay, so if I hit on preview now, okay, so for now it doesn't display anything. If I hit here, I can see the list of strings. These are the values that I also have in my storage bucket. If I choose the first one, it will be downloaded and then it will be shown here. So this is the first example that I wanted to show. Second one is add to queue. I call it here. So this is good, for example, if you have an app and you want to add something through this app into a queue. How does that work? Again, at the first step, I have to provide that queue. I click here, the same as I did before with the storage bucket, but this time with the queue. This is my queue. I called it UiPath chapter add to queue. One important thing here is that when you create that queue, it needs to follow a specific JSON schema. So if you create a new queue here, you need to provide that data schema. For this one, you simply can Google referencing a queue in your app. Then here is your schema. And then you can change that appropriate to your needs. And then you can use that and provide it here. Then you can create the queue. And then this is the queue that I created. And then you can work with an app. If you don't do it, it won't work. So you need to provide them. So that's, again, a very basic app. What do I want to do? I got a queue. Within my queue, I want to have the first name and the last name. This is my app. I got two fields, first name, last name, and the button add to queue. Okay, what do I want it to do? So I want to enter the first name here. I want to enter last name here, and I want to hit on add to queue, and then I want it to be loaded into the queue as a queue item. So again, I click on add to queue. I click on events, I click on edit rules. Okay, the rule was, yeah, it's already there. Add to queue. What queue do I want to use? So either, again, here on queues, and then I can choose the queue that I'm providing here. What happens? So I use input override. So for the queue, for the first name value, I want from my main page, from the first name field, the value. And again, for the queue, for the last name value, I want from my main page, for the last name field, the value. One little thing, so when items successfully added to queue, it shows me a message added to queue. This position will be on top, it will be type of info, and it will be gone after 3 seconds. Okay, so again, I click on preview. It's loading my app. And now I want to, hi. My first name is Hi, my second name is Peter. I click on add to queue. Okay, it was successfully added to queue. And click again, can click again, can click again. And now I want to refresh this one. Okay, and what I can see, I added a few queue items to the queue. Click on view details and see first name Hi, last name Peter. All right, so this concludes the second example. Now there will be the third example, which will be with data fabric. So as I said, don't worry about the info, like the resources. I will share it with you later on, and also share the links and the PowerPoint slide. Okay, so next one is data fabric and edit grid. So edit grid is something like this. So you can simply have a table with data. The data provided there is from your data fabric. So within data fabric, I create an entity. This entity has 2 fields, first name and last name. And I already added some data in here. And what I want is, I want it to be displayed within my app. I want it to be able to be changed through my app. I want it to be able to be deleted, and I want it to be able to be added. So what I can do now is, yeah, first of all, I add this control, which is an edit grid. Then I also added the entity, which is UiPath Data Fabric. This was added by default as a data source. I provide that entity. And then that's really important. Behind that edit grid, for everything I do with that, I can put a rule. So as you can see here is create rule. So I didn't put one rule, but for row added, row modified, and row deleted, there is already one rule. One little sign that shows you that there are rules behind control is this one. So for the row added, if I click here, okay, I chose the rule that is called create entity record. Which entity record, which entity should record be created in? So in my entity, my first name is from my main page, from my edit grid, from my new item first name. And my last name is from my main page, my edit grid, new item last name. When I preview that, you will see what that means with the new field. Then the same for, oh, sorry. Then the same for a row modified. This time it's update entity record. Maybe that you can see like this is create entity record, update and delete. There is nothing else. So this time it's I update by the ID from the selected item that I use. and I overwrite from my main page, edit grid, and selected item the first name. Again, I could also, or I actually did, show some message simply to know, okay, I changed something, and yeah, it worked out. All right, and the last one is delete. So delete entity record. Yeah, and I simply need to provide the ID. But maybe we can simply click that here. Okay, so main page. And from my main page, I go to the edit grid, and then I take my selected item and then my ID. Okay, so it auto saves every 30 seconds, just that you know. Okay, so maybe we preview that now. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. So what we can see now, we can see the entries from the data fabric. If I hit here, so this is new item. And I edit this like a first name and the last name. Click here. Okay, it shows me this message, A and B. Also, what I can change, for example, Stephen, it's called Stephen set. Sorry. Okay, updated. And now I want to delete one. Okay, so I changed all of that. And now if we go to the data fabric and I refresh, it should also be changed appropriately. So this concludes my third example. I will do 2 more, and then I will show you something else. Okay, next example is file uploader. Okay, that's a very basic one. What I want to do, I got a file uploader control where I can simply provide a file. I got a button. I hit that button. The file will be uploaded to storage bucket. And this is my refresh button. So this will be emptied again. Again, I need to, as I said, I need to provide a storage bucket through this one. This is my storage bucket. This is my storage bucket from here. Storage bucket, I call it file uploader. So I already uploaded some files. Here, actually nothing is provided here. For that button, I said I need an event. How does it work? Okay, once I hit that button, upload file to storage bucket. Where do I get my file from my main page, from my file uploader field and my value. And I upload it to the storage bucket and I auto generate a name and I show a message when it's successful. This one, I provided a reset value. So for my main page, file uploader value will be resetted. Okay, how does that look? When it's running? So it's loading. Very basic. So I can drop a file here. So I drop that file here. I can delete it here, but I can also upload it again. Now I hit that button. Now it was uploaded. I uploaded it a few times. And also I can hit that refresh button. Once the upload is completed, I can't delete it. That's why I use that refresh button to delete that name. Okay, now we check our storage bucket, and I uploaded it a few times. Okay, next example, and the last one for now. Since right now, it doesn't really, the first page that you see when you preview or open the app is the first one that you can see here. So if I change the order, make this one the first one, this will be the first one seen in preview. Okay, so the landing page was A. And if I put the main page on top and click on preview, I think it will already be redirected. No, okay, good. So it will be the main page will be the first one. And now what I want to show you is a simple way to, depending on what you want your landing page to be, if you provide an input. So we have to do it as an action app. Our input would be some kind of in-string page. Depending on that value, I will still start with this one, but once the page is loaded, I will redirect. So what I can see here is this is faking me giving some input value. So I said, when I load that page, I got this action property in string. For now, I use the value set, but let's put the value A. Okay, so when the page is loaded, this value will be A. And then depending on the value, if it's A, I will immediately redirect to page A. If it would be B, I would immediately redirect to page B. And if it wouldn't be any of them, so as it was before set, it will stay on the main page. So you can make it a bit dynamic. Okay, so let's preview it again. This time it's A, so I expect it to go directly to A. All right, so this is, yeah, simply since there is no other way to start with a different landing page, since it will always choose the first one, this is a way how you can work around that. Okay, one more thing regarding, so this concludes my examples. There are two ways to build apps. The old way is to simply use this apps here, but since UiPath also introduced solutions now, you can also click here and add an app to your solution. I don't know if every feature, I think not every feature right now, which is possible here, is also possible here. I think, for example, preview doesn't work. But I'm pretty sure that in the future it will be completely the same. One more thing regarding apps and action apps. I already told you action apps. Once you make an action app, it can't be undone. For action apps, you also always need at least one outcome and some button or field that submits an outcome. And yeah, you get that input, output, and in and out variables. Okay, and how do I trigger an action app? So there are two ways. Maybe you start with Studio Desktop. So wait a second. Okay, so I created a very, very simple action app. It's this one. Okay, what does that app do? This is an action app. My action schema is as outcome, I have a yes or no. And as input, I have for this one an agent number. So what does it do? It simply displays my agent number. So here I provided as default text, action properties, agent number, and toString. And I got these two buttons, yes and no. If I hit the yes button, my action outcome will be yes. If I hit the no button, my action outcome will be no. So very basic one, but it's good enough to show you the principle. All right, so what do I want to do? I can trigger an action app within Studio. So this is my sequence. Let me zoom in a bit. I got a log message that simply says it starts and a log message that simply states it ends. And then I can use the create app task activity. For this one, you need the UiPath persistence activity package, and also important that in your project settings, you need to hit this button on yes. What does it do? So I already published the app. So what can I do? I can create an app task. I give it a title. I also can provide a task catalog within Action Center. I can give it a priority. I can provide the app. This is the one that I just showed you. And this is the input, the agent number. I will just say 7 for now because I'm not actually working with an agent right now. And what does it do? This will create an app. And here I would wait for the outcome for the action, for the task with an Action Center. So maybe we can just hit on debug here. Okay, and what I can see, it got suspended. And now the task is created. Okay, so let's have a look at Action Center. Now, this is Action Center, maybe a quick overview. This is overview page, inbox page, settings page. You can have different tasks by type and priority. Yeah, for example, the document validation, classification, and labeling, which is all part of document understanding. Yeah. Let's say I will say last 30 days. Then I want to check here unassigned tasks. Okay, so that's the task that I just created. And it will be shown here. So I assign it to myself. Then it moves from unassigned to pending. And now I can click yes or no. I will click no. Task is completed, will be here now. And now I go back to Studio. Okay. I click here. All right, so it could continue, and it took wait for app task and resume, as it took the created app task from here. That creates the output created app task. I take this as an input, and I get as output the action taken and the task object. So let's see what that looks like. Action taken is simply a yes or no. This time it was a no, so the outcome. And task object contains all the different data, but you can also see, like, for example, who did that, what's my surname, what email did I use, blah, 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 creation time, so the category, task catalog, So a lot of data in it, and also I think there's the outcome itself there. Yeah, the action is also no. So this is straightforward, the outcome of the action taken, and this is more data if you need more data. So this is triggering an action app via Studio Desktop. Now I created a little agent. This is, again, just to show the basic principle. How does that agent work? You're an AI assistant designed to generate a random integer between 1 and 10, blah, blah, blah. So it will create a random number. And then at the end, I always wanted to trigger the escalation. So if I click here, I got this escalation. I gave that escalation a name. Whenever I want to call it, I provided the action app. And I will also provide the data somewhere here. So the user is me. Yeah, and I actually forgot that. So usually you should also add the name, the description of what you want to provide here. Maybe we can just leave it empty, because actually it worked like this. Okay, if I click on debug, I just click on save and debug. Now it's running. Okay, now I see a new task has been created. Open an action center. Okay, now I click yes or no. This time I click yes. Yeah, so task completed successfully. And now this agent is also successful since I can choose how the agent behaves depending on the outcome. If it's a yes, it should continue. If it's a no, it should continue. Yeah, so this actually concludes my presentation. I know a lot of these things were basic features, but I think, as I said, it makes sense to understand all the basics and then simply put them together. Yeah, so for now, I will stop sharing. Do you have any questions for now? Right. So regarding next sessions, I haven't planned any specific sessions yet. If you got any ideas or any topics or interests, feel free to share. You don't have to share them now. If you don't know, you can always contact me. And yeah, I'm happy to do a session on any specific topics. And if you got something that you want to present, also feel free to reach out. Happy to have other people presenting. All right. So I think I'm done, and I will share the link with all the information with you later on, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Julian.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye.